What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. Colin Beazley here, speaking to you on the 4th of July. Happy 4th to anyone watching this video today when it should go out. But if you're watching this video in the future, I hope you guys had a very good 4th. Hope you're able to celebrate. Hope you're able to enjoy the day and potentially even enjoy it with some Pirates baseball. The Pirates are playing in Seattle in just a few hours. My beat partner, Noah Hiles, is there to cover that entire Seattle series. So he will have it there. He'll have all of his work on post-gazette.com. I will be in Kansas City and Minneapolis, and I will have coverage of those two series on post-gazette.com and in print on Thursday and Sunday in our print edition. This week, yesterday I put out a story. It was 5 potential trade partners for the Pirates. The Pirates, as despite this current 6-game winning streak, are going to be sellers at the trade deadline, barring anything ridiculous over the next couple of weeks. They are, I believe, 12 games behind 500 currently. They're much farther back in the division and wild card races. I believe they're 9 games back of the wild card. Basically, with how many teams they'd have to leapfrog, it'd be very, very difficult for the Pirates to get into contention. So I put together a couple of potential trades for the Pirates. A quick disclaimer, isn't necessarily what I would do if I was running the team. I'm not fully playing mock GM. I'm simply saying this is a team that needs something that the Pirates have, and this is what the Pirates could get back in return. I published 5 of these. I went into a little bit more depth on the Post-Gazette website, but without further ado, I'll get into 5 potential trade partners for the 2025 Pittsburgh Pirates. First and foremost, I started with the Philadelphia Phillies because the Phillies, above everything, need relief pitching, namely right-handed relievers. They've got one of the worst bullpens in baseball this year with a 4.55 bullpen ERA, 24th out of 30 major league teams. And the teams that they're ahead of are not contending teams. In fact, when I looked at the stats, they had the exact same bullpen ERA as the horrifically bad Colorado Rockies. And the Phillies also need a leverage guy. Their closer, Jose Alvarado, is currently suspended for a PED violation. So he will return before the end of the year, but he's not going to be eligible for the playoffs. What do the Pirates have that could help the Phillies? David Bednar and Dennis Santana. Those are 2 high leverage relievers that have performed really, really well this year. They can be slotted back into the end of Philadelphia's bullpen, and the Phillies could really use a shutdown reliever like your June reliever of the month, David Bednar, or Dennis Santana. In fact, they could also use Caleb Ferguson, as they don't have very many lefties as well. What the Phillies have is they have both starting pitching and outfield depth to deal. Phillies have plenty of outfielders, and they only have more outfielders coming when Justin Crawford, their number 3 prospect, is going to hit his way out of the big league roster. He's hitting like 330 in AAA and should come up relatively soon. That could make some of the Phillies' current outfielders expendable. The guy I think could be an option is Brandon Marsh. He's 27. He's under team control through 2027. Doesn't have that much pop, but he's both affordable, he's under team control, and he hits right-handed pitching. He's a major league bat, and that's something that the Pirates potentially use. That said, the Phillies aren't looking to trade their starters at this moment. They're leading the National League East, and they're preparing for the playoffs. They wouldn't be too interested in doing that. Some other prospects that the Phillies could be interested in dealing. Right-handed pitcher Mick Abel was sent down to AAA today. He's performed relatively well this season and blanked the Pirates a few weeks ago. He's someone that the Phillies are thinking about dealing, but it might go to a team that needs pitching a little bit more than the Pirates. Phillies also have outfielder Gabriel Rincones Jr., their number 10 overall prospect, and infielder Arun Escobar, their number 13 overall prospect. Both of those guys have hit for power, and Rincones needs more time in AAA, but he hits for power, and I don't think he's going anywhere with the Phillies, given that he's an outfielder. And again, they've got a lot of outfield depth at the moment. And Escobar is someone who's currently in low A, but he's hit for average and power in low A. So that's someone who could be interesting for the Pirates. Second potential trade option is the Minnesota Twins. And you may wonder, wait, the Twins aren't buyers. Why would you include them in this? Well, sometimes at the trade deadlines, it's not just a clear buyer-seller trade. Sometimes you make a baseball trade. You make a trade that helps both teams get better for next year, for the future, for anything like that, not just for the remaining months of 2025. The Twins need left-handed hitters this year, and they need pitching in the future. Right now, they rank 28th out of 29 teams in WAR for left-handed hitters, out of 29 teams, because the Astros basically don't have any lefties, which I think is an awesome way to construct a team. And the Twins starting pitchers rank 17th with a 4.8 ERA, where their bullpen ranks 23rd with a 4.34 ERA. They need some pitching. The only left-handed bat the Pirates could offer is Adam Frazier, but pitching-wise, they could use some young prospects, which the Pirates have a bunch of. The Twins could be interested in a guy like Thomas Harrington, Wilbur Dotel, and a Christian Curtis, one of the guys just in the Pirates system that won't necessarily be debuting soon. What the Twins have a lot of is outfield prospects. Their top three prospects are all outfielders. All of them are in the top 50 in baseball. I don't think the Pirates would necessarily go for any of those guys just because their pitching prospects that they would deal aren't within top 50, and teams like to make it relatively even. But the Twins also have a lot of outfield depth. They have numbers 16 through 20 in their top 30 per MLB pipeline are all outfielders. And I think that they might be interested in trading a starting pitcher for an outfielder just because they have so much depth there. Twins number 17 prospect Gabriel Gonzalez has hammered both high A and double A pitching this year. He's batting .341. And number 19 in Twins prospect Asher Mercedes or number 20 prospect Kaya Rosario could be lottery ticket acquisitions. Both these guys have struggled a bit this year, but there's someone that might be worth taking a risk on simply because the Pirates don't have too many high upside outfield prospects in their system. I'll get to the final three teams, but first I wanted to give you guys a quick word from our sponsor, Greenewalt.
Hey, Pittsburgh. When you think of great roofs, you think Greenewalt Roofing Company. With over 20 years experience, Greenewalt knows your roof is your home's first line of defense from rain, wind, snow, and ice. That's why Greenewalt Roofing's standard for perfection is so important. You can trust that their team of experienced installers will treat your property like it's their own. When it comes to roof replacements, Greenewalt Roofing is Pittsburgh's only choice. Visit greenewaltroofing.com today or call 412-314-8882 to schedule your free estimate. PA contractor number 36262.
Third team I'll talk about is the New York Yankees. And this is one that's shown up a little bit over various rumors, namely for Brian Hayes rumors. Here's what the Yankees need, and it happens to be three of the Pirates' strengths. They need a third baseman, they need a left-handed reliever, they need a shortstop. Who do the Pirates have? They've got a pretty good third baseman in Brian Hayes, got a pretty good shortstop in Isiah Kiner-Falefa. Kiner-Falefa very likely to leave considering he's only got a few more months left on his contract. And left-handed reliever Caleb Ferguson has also been excellent. Interestingly, two of those guys, Ferguson and Kiner-Falefa, were both recently Yankees. Here's the issue with any potential Yankees trade, though. Even though the Pirates match up well, the Yankees simply don't have a very good farm system. They're 24th best in the majors entering this year, and a large part of that was because of Jasson Dominguez, who has since graduated from his prospect status. Some guys that the Yankees could potentially – the reason the Yankees could potentially make a trade is because with their young guys, when you are as aggressive in free agency as the Yankees are, you don't necessarily need to keep them. Anthony Volpe has struggled this year. He hasn't hit very well. He's struggled defensively. That's why they need a shortstop. He's someone the Pirates could potentially get in a trade. Even Dominguez, he entered as a top 100 prospect, and he's been perfectly fine. He's been pretty solid. He's under team control. He's someone that teams want to hold on to. But when you're the Yankees and you have a guy like Aaron Judge in the outfield and a number of other highly paid outfielders, maybe you'd be interested in trading Dominguez. Pirates, in terms of actual Yankee prospects that aren't in the big leagues, their number 2 prospect is Spencer Jones, who was recently promoted to AAA. He hits really well, and he's another 6'7" lefty hitting outfielder. The Pirates, it'd be fun to see 2 of those. He's got pop, he hits lefties well. There are other prospects that I mentioned in the article, but simply the Yankees don't have too many prospects worth talking about any trade, any Hayes blockbuster, or any swap like Ferguson or Kiner-Falefa. It makes it more unlikely just because there's not too much of value in the Yankee system. Another team in a similar situation is the Toronto Blue Jays, who are competing with the Yankees for the AL East. They need starting pitching. They need high leverage relievers. They had a good June, but simply their starting pitching hasn't been very good. They have a 4.59 starting rotation ERA, 26 in baseball, which simply won't cut it when you're trying to compete like the Blue Jays are. The guys that they could potentially be interested in, Mitch Keller would help any rotation in baseball right now. That's why there are so many teams that are interested in him. That's why he's been floated in so many potential trades. That's why the Pirates don't necessarily want to trade him, because he's good. But the Blue Jays could really use a guy like Keller. Guy that could also really use Andrew Heaney. He's on a one-year deal, and in the last couple of years or in the last couple of months of his contract, and I definitely expect Andrew Heaney to be moved. He's someone that could be a likelier fit for the Blue Jays because they need a back-end starter. Their number 4 and 5 spots have simply not been very good this year. And while they just got 40-year-old Max Scherzer back, do you really want your playoff hopes to rely on 40-year-old Max Scherzer? I don't know. Blue Jays, like the Yankees, don't have a particularly deep farm system. They're actually ranked even worse as the 27th best system in the game. Their top-ranked outfielder, Charles McAdoo, who you guys might remember, he was traded from the Pirates in the Isiah Kiner-Falefa trade last year. I wouldn't say that's particularly likely to have a reunion, though that said, Charles McAdoo was a lot better in the Pirates system than he was with the Blue Jays. That said, an Andrew Heaney trade would probably net a prospect in the lower half of a team's top 30 list, and the Blue Jays do have a number of outfielders low in their list. Number 18 prospect R.J. Schreck was recently promoted to AAA, and he hits right-handers well, though he is a little bit old. Number 22 prospect Jace Boffrin has 10 homers this year, but he is struggling to hit for average in AA. Number 23 prospect Yohendrick Pinango, a former Cubs farmhand, was also recently promoted to AAA after hitting near 300 in AA. Those are just a couple of guys the Pirates could potentially get, as I believe they're looking for outfielders who have some pop and have, most importantly, team control, can help the Pirates for a couple of years, given where this season has gone. The final trade partner I'll mention is the one that has probably gotten the most publicity through various rumors, something that's come up a number of times recently, reported most notably by USA Today, and that's the Chicago Cubs, which is interesting as they are an in-division foe. General Manager Ben Cherington was asked about this recently, and he basically said that he doesn't necessarily go away from trading in division purely because both teams are taking on some risk in a trade. That's just inherent. Both teams are taking on a risk. It could be bad for both teams, so that's something he hasn't necessarily ruled out. The Cubs have been rumored to want Mitch Keller and David Bednar, two of the best Pirates this year, two of the best Pirates in recent years, because simply they need starting pitching and relief pitching. Their starting pitchers have a 4.27 ERA, the 22nd best mark in baseball, and the current rotation consists of 3 veterans, Matthew Boyd, Colin Rea, and Jameson Taillon, a rookie in Cam Horton, and Shota Imanaga, who recently returned from the injured list. They could really use a guy like Mitch Keller, someone who's dependable, is going to pitch well for them, and will really steady a rotation that's struggling greatly. And given that the Cubs are contending in enough race, they'll always look for more help, even though they have done well recently. The Cubs actually do have an interesting system full of some guys that could help the Pirates. 3 of the Cubs' top 5 prospects are AAA outfielders, and the Cubs have one of the best outfielders in baseball. They've got Pete Crow Armstrong already. They've got Mount Lebanon grad Ian Happ. They've currently got Kyle Tucker, who they're going to attempt to re-sign, whether or not they're able to. He's a very good outfielder and someone that they're set with this year. And they don't need 3 top 5 prospects being AAA outfielders. In a deal for Mitch Keller and a deal for David Bednar, the Pirates would want a top prospect. This wouldn't be a dumpster dive, a couple of prospects. You would need someone who's major league ready, like those AAA outfielders. Here are those guys. Owen Cassidy is the number 42 overall prospect in baseball. Kevin Alcantara is the number 59 overall prospect in baseball. James Triantos was nearly outside the top 100. He's the Cubs' number 5 prospect. All three of those guys could be interesting. If you're making a smaller trade, something that doesn't include Keller, the Cubs also have 2 options in number 11 prospect Jonathan Long or number 16 prospect Pedro Ramirez. Long is hitting over 300 in AAA with 9 homers and 47 RBIs, but he's not in the big leagues simply because he's a below-average defender where he's been put. At a place where considering the Pirates need pop, Long could be a fit. Ramirez is 21 and in AA. He's hit for average at every level, and he plays both second and third base. I believe that he's someone that could potentially help the Pirates going forward. Though that said, if they were to trade Mitch Keller, they'd need a top 100 prospect to make it worth it. Let me know what you guys think. This has been a little bit of a longer video than usual, but let me know what you think on those potential trade partners. Again, not saying that these are trades that the Pirates should necessarily make or how aggressive their approach should be at the deadline, but those are 5 teams that I believe could make sense for a potential deal. Let me know what you think. Have a great 4th of July, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.